This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
President Trump voicing more displeasure for Vladimir Putin amidst deadlier attacks on Ukraine. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Another career ambition for Senator Tommy Tuberville.
I'm a leader, I'm a builder, I'm a recruiter.
I'm Clayton Neville.
President Trump plans pardons for a reality TV show couple. More sensational testimony from the Sean Combs trial, and a bus crash kills 2 in Tennessee. We'll have details.
On Wall Street, stocks rallied as investors feel better about some economic data and the tariffs. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
NPR is taking the Trump administration to court over an executive order cutting federal funding to public media. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Plus, the police chief on the run from the law. All ahead on America in the Morning. One of the largest and deadliest drone strikes of the Ukraine war was launched over Memorial Day weekend by Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump is taking to social media to voice his anger and frustration. John Stolnis has the story from Washington.
In a departure from previous statements about the Russian president, Trump said Putin is, quote, playing with fire over escalating the conflict over the weekend. In a series of social media posts, the president said, quote, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened in Russia. And I mean really bad. Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chairman of the Kremlin's Security Council, responded by saying, quote, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce was asked if Trump is growing frustrated with Putin.
I wouldn't call it frustration. It is a statement of the man who has led the effort for peace in so many different regions, making it clear and being completely transparent about his opinion about what's transpired. And I think that is something Russia should take seriously. Americans certainly do.
After a social media post in which he pondered whether sanctions might be necessary to change Putin's approach, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham tweeted that the Senate is ready to act on sanctions the Trump administration feels is necessary. And Republican Congressman Don Bacon, also on social media, says the U.S. must arm Ukraine to the teeth, sanction Russia to the max, and confiscate the $300 billion in overseas Russian assets. Officially, the White House has been non-committal to sanctions.
There are many different things that the president has at his disposal to make sure that our position is felt and that can be used to make an impact to stop this carnage.
More than 350 drones flew over parts of Ukraine over the weekend, launching 9 missiles targeting civilian areas almost exclusively. The Ukrainian Air Force says over the last week, Russia launched 94 missiles at Ukrainian targets, killing at least 30 civilians and wounding more than 160.
The president supports any mechanism that leads to a just, durable, and lasting peace. Any mechanism. There is no military solution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Trump and Putin spoke for 2 hours on the phone last week. Afterwards, Trump said it appeared to him Putin was ready to end the war and begin ceasefire negotiations. John Stolnis, Washington.
A football coach turned United States Senator is calling an audible with an eye on state politics. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports on a move that could impact both Alabama and Washington, D.C.
U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville threw his name into the race for Alabama governor with an announcement made on Fox News' The Will Cain Show.
A few years ago, I decided to give back to this great country and fight. President Trump was a guy that really was behind me in doing the Senate race. He's been behind me ever since. And today, I will announce that I will be the future governor of the great state of Alabama.
The Republican announcing his candidacy in the race to fill the seat of outgoing 2-term Republican Governor Kay Ivey. She's term limited. Tuberville told Fox News why he's running.
I'm a football coach. I'm a leader. I'm a builder. I'm a recruiter. And we're going to grow Alabama. We're going to bring manufacturing to the state. We're going to stop this illegal immigration. We're going to make education better again.
Tuberville was the head football coach at Auburn University when he garnered fame across Alabama. He also coached at Mississippi and Texas Tech.
Meantime, I'll be running every weekend, doing the things I need to do to make sure that I can get over the threshold and win this governor's race, come back to Alabama, and work with President Trump and not stop, because he's fully supportive of this, to keep making America great again and put Alabama first.
I'm Clayton Neville.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. Sleep better with Sleep Number now during the Memorial Day sale. All smart beds and bases are on sale, plus free home delivery, exclusively at a Sleep Number store. Kidnapping and a murder plot. New allegations in high-profile trial when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. Here with America in the Morning. A pinpoint on rainfall across the nation this Wednesday. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A fairly messy and complicated pattern does bring the return of showers and some periods of steady rain to the northeast through the week. However, unlike some of the storms of the past several weeks, it's not exactly looking like a cool and cloudy stretch the whole time, with rain more often than not through the event. While today does bring at least some afternoon showers to places from eastern Long Island and western Connecticut to parts of New York near the eastern shores of Lake Ontario, with steadier rain from New Jersey and Pennsylvania southward, many of those same locations actually may have a drier gap for much of the day on Thursday before a second round of precipitation arrives on Friday. Also, high temperatures in cities such as Pittsburgh and Philadelphia will be held back by clouds and rain today, but both areas actually start to rebound for tomorrow and don't drop off all that much for Friday, as opposed to the recent extended cool and rainy stretches. Farther to the south, thunder will be a bigger part of the forecast from eastern Ohio and Kentucky through the Carolinas, especially a zone from South Carolina and much of the southeast through a good chunk of Texas, the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and eastern New Mexico, even the southeastern corner of Colorado, all places where storms may turn severe this afternoon and evening with damaging winds, hail, and flash flooding. Much of the Great Lakes region also stands a decent chance for some rain at times today, with showers and afternoon thunder from eastern North Carolina into the southern two-thirds of Minnesota. Keep an eye out for an afternoon thunderstorm across Wyoming as well, but to the west of there, a large portion of the west simply has sunshine in store for today, as warm conditions expand ahead of what could be the first significant heat wave of the season. In Fresno, California, expect a warm Wednesday with sunshine and a high of 94. For New Orleans, it's looking humid with a morning shower, then afternoon showers and a gusty, heavy thunderstorm, high 88. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The stars of a reality TV show who landed in federal prison could be freed as soon as today. President Donald Trump called two of the children of imprisoned reality television couple Todd and Julie Chrisley from the Oval Office Tuesday, informing them of his plans to pardon their parents. The pair, known for their roles on the TV show Chrisley Knows Best, sought pardons from Trump in February after they were convicted for allegedly bilking banks out of tens of millions of dollars in 2022, a verdict that landed Todd Chrisley a 12-year jail term and his wife Julie 7 years. White House spokesperson Harrison Fields said in a statement that Trump is, quote, always pleased to give well-deserving Americans a second chance, especially those who've been unfairly targeted and overly prosecuted by an unjust justice system, end quote. America in the Morning continues. There was more sensational testimony in the trial of disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, including a former assistant alleging she was kidnapped in a plot to kill another rapper. Correspondent Julie Walker is following proceedings.
Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant testified at his trial Tuesday that the music mogul threatened her with death on her first day on the job. Her voice shaking at times, Capricorn Clark, who mostly referred to Combs as Puff, said another time he came to her home with a gun in his hand, demanding she get dressed and come with him because, quote, we're going to kill Cuddy. Cuddy was the ex-boyfriend of Combs' love interest, Cassie. On Thursday, Cuddy testified Combs broke in, and he also told jurors another time his Porsche was firebombed. Prosecutors are trying to prove Combs led a racketeering conspiracy for 20 years that relied on beefy security guards and others to ensure he got what he wanted. Combs pled not guilty to that and to sex trafficking. Julie Walker, New York.
2 people are dead, more than 3 dozen hurt after a Greyhound bus crashed on a western Tennessee highway. The Tennessee Highway Patrol reports the bus and a car collided on Highway 70 in Madison County near the town of Jackson, about 87 miles northeast of Memphis. The Greyhound bus was traveling from Memphis to Nashville when the crash occurred. Police are expected to release more details later today. Outlook for the once darling stock NVIDIA when America in the Morning returns after these messages. The Business Report is brought to you by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments has a team of specialists in investing, financial planning, estate planning, and more. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
On Wall Street, stocks rallied as investors feel better about some economic data and the tariffs. I'm Jessica Ettinger. Wall Street opens this morning after a really nice rally for stocks yesterday. Consumer confidence rebounded, and new tariffs on European goods have been delayed. The Dow soared up 740 points. Now, the Dow and the Nasdaq are still lower for the year, but the S&P 500 index has its head above water, up about 0.5% year to date.
Investors are being pretty forgiving about the near-term economic numbers. You know, we bounced off of the multi-decade low in consumer confidence, and it's treated as an upside surprise.
CNBC's Mike Santoli. Investors are bracing for quarterly results after the closing bell this afternoon from AI chipmaker NVIDIA. Although shares were higher yesterday, they were up 3%.
Don't expect any fireworks this time around. Macro uncertainty and that pesky ban on the H20 chips destined for China have really just thrown a wrench into things. The street's big players really aren't mincing their words either in their reports. Bank of America, Piper, Mizuho, all expecting NVIDIA to actually come up short on revenues for the April quarter and see gross margins likely taking a hit. The culprit is lost revenue from China, plain and simple. But here's the thing. This doom and gloom scenario that I may be mentioning isn't permanent. These same analysts see brighter days ahead for NVIDIA in the second half of this year.
CNBC's Christina Partsinevelos. Investors are keeping a close eye on the Trump tariffs after he pushed the deadline for a deal with the European Union into July. It follows President Trump turning notably negative on Russian President Vladimir Putin for the first time. Over the weekend, he said some negative things, which is exactly what some say Europe wanted to hear.
You get Putin as bad guy, then suddenly Europe has a reason to make a deal. Think about where we were Friday. The president got very angry. Other than the deal with Nippon Steel, there really was nothing positive. He started hearing that the Senate's going to disagree with the House bill. Then suddenly we wake up to a possible deal?
CNBC Mad Money host Jim Cramer. A record Memorial Day long weekend for the box office.
The biggest winner of all of the media players here was Disney, as Lilo & Stitch live-action remake has already grossed around $90 million more than the entire run of the 2002 animated film. This is a big win for a film with a roughly $100 million budget, and it makes Disney the only studio to top $2 billion at the box office so far this year. Another winner, of course, Paramount. Tom Cruise's final installment on its Mission Impossible franchise delivered a franchise best with particular strength at IMAX.
CNBC's Julia Borston. On today's watch list, earnings are coming from NVIDIA, as we mentioned, plus Dick's Sporting Goods and Salesforce. We also get the minutes from the last Fed meeting.
Thank you, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Cop on the lam when America in the Morning continues after these messages. National Public Radio is fighting back after Donald Trump's executive order cutting its government funding. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports on NPR's lawsuit against the president.
NPR is taking the Trump administration to court over an executive order cutting federal funding to public media. The president this month ordered the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and other federal agencies to stop funding NPR and PBS, arguing taxpayers should not fund what he says is their biased reporting.
A direct effort by the government to control content and viewpoint in the journalistic sphere. And that's one of the most egregious First Amendment violations there can be.
Lawyer Ted Boutros helped file a federal suit against the administration on behalf of NPR and 3 member stations. The suit argues the president's violating their free speech, relying on an authority he does not have. PBS is not involved in this action, but is likely to challenge the order soon. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
A manhunt for a former police chief in Arkansas who broke out of jail continues. With the story of a cop on the run, here's Lisa Dwyer.
Authorities are searching Arkansas's rugged Ozark Mountains for a former police chief and convicted killer who escaped prison this weekend by disguising himself in a makeshift outfit designed to mimic law enforcement. Grant Hardin, the former police chief in the small town of Gateway near the Arkansas-Missouri border, was serving lengthy sentences for both murder and rape. He became known as the Devil in the Ozarks after a documentary about him was released. Cheryl Tillman, whose brother James Appleton was killed by Hardin in 2017, says they are on edge, and she doubts that Hardin will be taken alive. Authorities have warned residents to stay vigilant and to lock their doors. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, May 28, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour,
the Trump administration not backing down on its stance surrounding Harvard. I'm Clayton Neville.
The nation's health chief says he's making a COVID vaccine recommendation change. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Charges filed in the UK ramming incident, Philadelphia shooting being called a war zone, and the State Department issuing new travel advisories.
The State Department has halted the scheduling of new visa interviews for foreign students. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Music legend Rick Derringer has passed away. I'm Kevin Carr.
Manhattan Henge will beam through New York City's skyscrapers starting tonight. I'm Sue Aller.
Back after these messages. This is America in the Morning. The highest threat for severe weather today in the southern U.S. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Not only does today bring yet another day with the risk for severe weather in the south, that potential will extend into at least some of the southern states through at least Friday, thanks to a series of storms that will move through the region. Focusing on today, AccuWeather severe weather experts warn that storms this afternoon and evening may be able to produce hail, strong wind gusts of 55 to 65 miles per hour, and rain heavy enough to lead to areas of flash flooding from southeastern Colorado and southwestern Kansas, southward through the panhandles of both Oklahoma and Texas, across the Big Bend of Texas, then northeastward through most of Louisiana and along the Gulf Coast through the Florida Panhandle, also including mainly southern Mississippi and Alabama and just about all of South Carolina. Showery conditions with some areas of thunder extend northward from there without the risk for organized severe weather from the Tennessee River Valley into the interior mid-Atlantic and parts of eastern Ohio as a large storm continues to spin over the upper Midwest and the western Great Lakes with wave after wave of energy rotating around it. Patches of steady rain should develop from Wisconsin to northern Indiana and lower Michigan, while rain also returns to the mid-Atlantic coast and into western and central New York State. A thunderstorm may also develop, especially by the afternoon hours, over the Florida Peninsula, most of Wyoming, and the area from northern Iowa into central Minnesota, even eastern North Dakota. But the rest of the West looks quite dry indeed, with very warm conditions continuing underneath a zone of high pressure that will stick around through the west of the week for many, even into the start of the weekend for some, as the heat starts to build around the region. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The Trump administration is taking more action against Harvard University as the president cracks down on colleges accused of supporting anti-Semitism as war continues in the Middle East. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports that the executive orders from the president is spurring the Ivy League school to respond with a lawsuit.
President Trump hasn't shied away from his stance on Harvard.
The thing is, they're very anti-Semitic. Everybody knows they're anti-Semitic, and that's got to stop immediately.
This week, the Trump administration stopped scheduling new interviews for international students seeking visas to study in the U.S.
Billions of dollars has been paid to Harvard. How ridiculous is that? Billions. And they have $52 billion as an endowment. They have $52 billion. And this country is paying billions and billions of dollars and then gives student loans and they have to pay back the loans. So Harvard's going to have to change its ways.
The State Department also planning to expand the way that it screens applicants on social media. President Trump believes Harvard has more foreign students than it should.
We want a list of those foreign students, and we'll find out whether or not they're okay. Many will be okay, I assume. And I assume with Harvard, many will be bad.
Last month, federal officials demanded Harvard tweak its hiring practices, billions of dollars in Harvard grants under threat of suspension. The administration also exploring how to take away the university's tax-exempt status.
We have Americans that want to go there and to other places, and they can't go there because you have 31% foreign. Now, no foreign government contributes money to Harvard. We do. So why are they doing so many?
Tuesday, U.S. officials cited discriminatory hiring and admissions practices by Harvard in a letter to agencies that the administration is now urging to cancel their contracts with the university. I'm Clayton Neville.
On the same day that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced new measures, a COVID-19 variant has been detected in China and confirmed there are cases in the U.S. The head of HHS says he's making a change to remove some COVID-19 vaccine recommendations, Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
The nation's health chief says he's making a COVID vaccine recommendation change. A CDC advisory panel is to meet next month to make recommendations on who should get COVID shots in the fall. But HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not waiting. In a social media video,
I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Health officials had been urging annual COVID boosters for all Americans 6 months and older.
Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
Kennedy was a leading anti-vaccine advocate before taking office.
We're now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
No one from the CDC appeared in the video. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The new COVID variant, called NB181, has been linked to a surge in cases in China, but according to authorities, while it may spread more easily, it does not appear to be more severe than previous strains. A man in Liverpool, England, is now facing charges including attempted murder after Monday's soccer parade tragedy. He's been accused of driving his car into a crowd of spectators. More on the story from correspondent Jennifer King.
There was loads of people chasing after it, people trying to get in. Somebody was going for the passenger door trying to get in. The back window was already smashed on it. There was like a dozen people chasing it, wasn't there? And then, so I said to him, look, let's just keep going. And then as we started walking, we could hear the thuds as the car hit and people screaming and shouting, and you could just hear it all.
Merseyside police have taken into custody a white British man who injured 65 people in Liverpool Monday when he allegedly rammed his minivan into a crowd of soccer fans celebrating their team's Premier League championship.
We have arrested a 53-year-old man from West Derby,
Detective Chief Superintendent Karen Gendril,
on suspicion of attempted murder, dangerous driving offences, and driving whilst unfit through drugs.
Jenny Sims is the Merseyside Assistant Chief Constable.
An extensive investigation into the precise circumstances of the incident is ongoing, and we continue to ask people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding the incident and refrain from sharing distressing content online.
The driver turned down a cordoned-off street just off the parade route following an ambulance to get through roadblocks, then plowed into a sea of fans. 11 people remain hospitalized. 4 children were among the injured.
And the investigation is ongoing, so I think we need to leave that to them. I think today is a day really for thinking about all those impacted by this and being absolutely clear that we stand with them.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he was appalled by the tragedy.
Well, scenes of joy turned to utter horror and devastation, and my thoughts and the thoughts of the whole country are with all of those that are affected, those injured, which of course includes children, their families, their friends, the whole community, Liverpool fans everywhere. And Liverpool stands together, and the whole country stands with Liverpool.
Audio courtesy Sky News. I'm Jennifer King.
No rubber stamping visas for foreign students when America in the Morning continues after these messages. The search is on for those responsible in a deadly Memorial Day shooting in Philadelphia Park that turned a peaceful day into what was described as a war zone. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel says a 21-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman were killed and 9 others, including several teens, injured in a shooting at Fairmount Park Monday night, where 3 guns were used, including an automatic.
The amount of firepower that they can exhaust, I mean, you can go through a magazine in seconds. This is war.
Calling it a heinous shooting, Mayor Sherrell Parker stresses ongoing plans to make the city safer.
We can't police our way out of this. The park rangers can't do this alone. Our approach is comprehensive. It's prevention, it's intervention, and enforcement.
Police were in the park when the shooting took place. They say even more officers will be there next weekend for the annual Roots picnic.
If you get a chance to listen to the video, that's the sound of war. You know, when you have an automatic weapon that you can empty a magazine, a 20-clip magazine in seconds, it is meant to kill, to create carnage, and to hit as many people as possible. And in this case, you see it was able to do that. So it's a challenge for us.
I'm Julie Walker.
The U.S. State Department has issued some extreme travel advisories to Americans traveling abroad. The U.S. government warns against travel to Venezuela for any reason, citing severe risks to Americans, including wrongful detention, torture, terrorism, kidnapping, arbitrary enforcement of local laws, crime, civil unrest, and poor health infrastructure. There is no U.S. embassy or any American consulate offices in Venezuela. The State Department is also warning about travel to Italy, urging travelers to exercise increased caution due to risks of terrorist violence. Italy joins France, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, which have Level 2 advisories from the State Department. New visa interviews for foreign students attempting to come into the U.S. are officially on hold. Lisa Dwyer reports.
The State Department has halted the scheduling of new visa interviews for foreign students hoping to study in the U.S. while it prepares to expand the screening of their social media activity. The suspension is intended to be temporary and does not apply to applicants who have already previously scheduled interviews. The State Department says that the U.S. uses every available resource to vet people applying for visas. A downturn in enrollment of international students could hurt university budgets, as some institutions shifted to enrolling more international students who pay full-price tuition to make up for funding shortfalls. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
With airlines seeing lower customer demand, a number of carriers have cut back on flights for the summer, and reports still continue to surface of airlines in Canada and across the world seeing more empty rows heading to the United States. After 50 years, there have been some new changes at Southwest Airlines. Correspondent Marcela Sanchez reports.
Southwest Airlines' free checked bag policy is getting ready for takeoff. Starting Wednesday, passengers will now be charged $35 for a first checked bag and $45 for a second. Those who have not reached the upper tiers of its Rapid Rewards loyalty program, bought a business class ticket, or hold the airline's credit card will have to pay for checked bags. The decades-long policy allowed people to check up to 2 bags for free. In September, the airline estimated that charging the extra fees would bring in about $1.5 billion a year, but cost the airline $1.8 billion in lost business. Southwest has struggled recently and is under pressure from activist investors to boost profits and revenue. The airline's shares rose 3% at the opening bell Tuesday, along with other carriers. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
Texas has signed into law new legislation that's designed to protect children when online, but free speech advocates say it goes too far. Chuck Palm has details in today's Tech Report.
Texas has a new law that will force digital media companies to require parental consent to download apps or make in-app purchases for any user under 18. The law requires that Apple and Alphabet's Google verify the age of any user in their app store, putting Texas in the crosshairs on whether and how to regulate smartphone use by children. Utah passed a similar law this year, and U.S. lawmakers have also introduced a federal bill. Waiting in the wings is another Texas bill that has passed their House of Representatives and waiting on their Senate vote to restrict all social media apps to users over 18. Concerns over children's mental health issue due to social media exposure is growing, with dozens of states already suing Meta platforms and a Surgeon General warning advising safeguards for children. Child online safety groups have backed the Texas bill, saying it's the only way to give parents effective control over their children's use of technology. For more, visit chuckpalm.com.
Robert Workman has a check of midweek sports.
NBA Eastern Conference Final last night in Indianapolis. The Pacers put down the Knicks 130-121 for a 3-1 series advantage. Tyrese Halliburton, again the tip of the spear, 32 points and a triple-double without a turnover. First time that's happened in a playoff game since the NBA started tracking turnovers in 1978.
We were just, who cares? Let's get it in and let's run, go right back at them. They're going to make shots. Let's just keep going. So I thought we did a great job of just playing our way.
Indiana could punch its ticket to the finals tomorrow in New York. Stanley Cup playoffs, Western Conference final, Game 4 in Edmonton. The Oilers drilled the Stars 4-1 to lead that series 3-1. Game 5 tomorrow night in Dallas. All 6 of baseball's division leaders won on Tuesday. The AL Best Tigers over the Giants 3-1. Yankees held off the Angels 3-2. Mariners sailed past the Nationals 9-1. Cal Raleigh went deep twice. In the National League, the Phillies shut out the Braves 2-0. Ranger Suarez and the Yellowstones with a 5-hitter for the team with the best record in baseball, a third of the way into the season. Dodgers down the Guardians 9-5. Shohei Ohtani, home run number 20 to lead the majors. And the Cubs edge the Rockies 4-3 in 11 innings. That makes 21 consecutive series losses for Colorado. That breaks the record set by the White Sox way back in 2024. Christian Yelich belted a grand slam in the 10th to boost the Brewers over the Red Sox. The Reds got 2 long dingers from Ellie De La Cruz and a romp over the Royals. Astros annihilated the A's. Jose Altuve 4 for 4 with 2 homers. That's Wednesday Sports.
Thank you, sir. When we return on America in the Morning, move over Stonehenge for America's urban solstice after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. Musician Rick Derringer, known for Hang On Sloopy and Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, has passed away. Kevin Carr has a look back at his career.
Singer, guitarist, and producer Rick Derringer passed away on Monday, his family announced via social media. No cause of death was given. He was 77.
Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on.
Derringer found early success with his hit Hang On Sloopy from his band The McCoys in 1965. The song soon became an anthem for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Sloopy continues to be huge in Ohio, being named the official state rock song in 1985. Derringer's other major hit was his 1973 solo single, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. Known for his session work, Derringer performed guitar on Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart and produced 3 of Cyndi Lauper's early albums. In 1985, he produced the wrestling album featuring anthems from the World Wrestling Federation, memorably Hulk Hogan's Real American. Other diverse artists he worked with include Steely Dan, Bette Midler, Meatloaf, Barbra Streisand, and Kiss. But it was Weird Al Yankovic's Eat It, which featured Derringer on the guitar solo, that earned him a Grammy. On Instagram on Tuesday, Yankovic paid tribute to Derringer, fondly remembering working with him to produce his first 6 albums. I'm Kevin Carr.
We all know Stonehenge, but New Yorkers are preparing for Manhattanhenge. Correspondent Sue Aller explains.
It's happening tonight, Manhattanhenge. Have you heard of it? You may have seen it. It's a stunning event that occurs twice a year when the setting sun aligns perfectly with Manhattan's east and west street grid, creating a breathtaking view of the sun framed by the city's skyscrapers. This tourist told PBS NewsHour that he saw it last year.
It is almost spiritual. I've waited 20 years to see that, and it actually sets exactly in the middle of the street. I didn't expect that.
Manhattanhenge got its name from Stonehenge, the prehistoric monument in England where the sun aligns with the stones during the summer and winter solstice. It's more than just a beautiful sunset. It's a fascinating demonstration of the intersection between urban design and astronomy, coined by astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. This tourist also spoke with PBS and said he planned his trip around this urban event.
We were here 3 years ago and we didn't get a successful sunset. It was just cloudy right at the last moment.
This rare event typically happens around late May and mid-July. This year, Manhattanhenge will occur tonight and tomorrow, but if you miss it, you will get another chance on July 11th and 12th. In New York, I'm Sue Aller.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.